Hi students, welcome to Design of Tooling Manufacturing 463. So in this quarter we're going to learn how to design fixtures, and we're going to determine the differences between the different kinds of fixtures, and we're going to see how those differences play out into the design. So one thing that we're going to find in fixture design is that there aren't hard rules. They're sort of a large suggestion of best practices. And some of those best practices will be directly conflicting with others of the best practices. And so as we go through this class, we're going to learn for each type of fixture or each situation, we're going to have to figure out which of those best practices fits in this current situation that we're looking at. So this class is a lot of fun. It's my favorite class to teach. Normally, we have this class and we're working inside the classroom and spend a lot of time designing on whiteboards and groups, and so we're going to replicate that as best we can as we go through. So the types of fixtures that we'll be looking at include inspection and metrology fixtures, including gauges. So we'll spend some time on gauges. We'll look at machining fixtures. We'll look at jigs, which are a special type of machining fixture. We'll look at assembly fixtures in different realms of gluing, bolting, and welding. And then we'll look at end-of-arm tooling for robotics, and finally probably get to injection molds a little bit at the end. So all of this is brought together by a fundamental concept called determinism. So we're going to learn what determinism means, and then in each of these cases we're going to know what the ideal of determinism is, and then in each of these cases we apply it differently. We figure out, are we trying to achieve determinism, or are we trying to get close, or in some things are we not really trying to get close at all. So that's going to be the thing that pulls this whole class together. How is the class going to happen? Well, the class meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 5 are going to be on Zoom. I don't know if the Muppets are coming, but hey, maybe they will. All of the communications about the class are going to be through Canvas. So the Canvas site is up and running, though it is a little bit sparse right now. So go ahead and check that out if you want to. We're also going to spend time in class using Google Jamboard. And so when we are having the class times, they're synchronous classes, you will need to be able to have Zoom running, and you'll need to have some way to get to Jamboard. And so that can be on a laptop, it can be on a desktop. You could run Jamboard on a tablet as well. In fact, it works pretty well on a tablet. You can do it on a phone, though it's going to be pretty clunky because you're going to need to be doing sketches and things on it. And while the touch screen of the phone helps, you really have to zoom in to be able to get much resolution. And then finally, a lot of good quality CATIA time in this class. So you are going to be doing collaborative work with your classmates making big models in CATIA. And so you will need to be able to run CATIA sometimes during the class, not quite as often, but sometimes during the class. So that's where we need to be. For running CATIA, you can be using your own device, or you can be logging into the university through VPN and using those devices. If you need directions on how to do that, there are some directions in the last email that I sent you, plus there are some directions on the Canvas site about how to do that. So you might be wondering about lab time. And of course, because of COVID, we're not allowed to have the in-person labs for this class. And so unfortunately, we won't be able to do that, but during the class, we're going to be designing, during the lab time, we'll be on Zoom again, but you'll be working in groups, and we'll be designing an automated gauging platform over the course of the entire quarter. So in the manufacturing lab, we have a new machine. We call it Charles the lathe. We call it Charles because it's the type of lathe is called a chucker lathe. It's little tiny. It's bigger than it looks here, so you stand up to use the controller, and so that kind of gives you a sense of scale. It has that big long tube that goes out to the side that is an automatic bar feeder. And so what this lathe can do is it can feed in parts, cut apart part drops in the part chute, it will feed in more bar stock, it will cut another part. And so what we're going to do with this is we're going to use it in some of the classes that you took with Sura, and we're going to make just be able to do a long run of parts and look at process variation over those parts. So sort of like you did in the lab where you shot the ping pong ball many times with the pendulum, but this is going to be a manufacturing process. Well, to be able, let's see, just one more thing about this. This is, lathe has gang style tooling, so instead of a big tooling turret, it has this small rotary tooling turret, and it can have 8 and up to 16 tools in it. We also have some live tools. So you're going to be designing a part, and then you're going to be designing an automated gauging fixture that will come in and measure that part. So the idea is that if we were to build your design, students would be able to use the chucker lathe and make a whole lot of parts, and then they would be able to take those parts, and eventually I'd like to have a robot do this, pull the part out of the lathe, stick it in the gauging machine, and then have this gauging machine close up and measure the part completely, take a bunch of information, and then be developing SPC charts and stuff and such as it's going through, so you can look at process variation and process control, and then work on improving that process control. It could also be used with design of experiment to design or generate a lot of data really quickly, and then look at the factors that are causing variation in that data. All right, so that is what the class is going to be like. I am looking forward to seeing you there. I would ask in the meantime for you to be working on getting CATIA set up. If you run into challenges with that, which many of you probably will because CATIA is not so friendly all the time, be sure and let me know what those challenges are, and I'll help you out as far as I can. Otherwise, I will see you on Thursday at 3 o'clock on Zoom. The link is on the Canvas site. All right, thanks.